Hi, my name is Dr. Felucia, and I'm a licensed psychologist and owner of Skillset Counseling, where I focus on the treatment of OCD, spiritual abuse, and cultural abuse. Today's video is going to be within the domain of spiritual abuse. And specifically, I will be discussing how journaling can be a powerful tool in your recovery from spiritual abuse. The first way journaling can be very powerful is because it actually provides a form of documentation as to what happened. And so when we think of journaling, we usually think of journaling as something that's creative, something that's abstract, and something that also gets in touch with our feelings and perceptions about a situation. And all that is true regarding journaling, but journaling is also very powerful as a form of documenting. And so I want to backtrack a little bit. And when I'm talking about journaling, I'm not talking about writing for long periods of time and having these extensive and detailed descriptions. Although, if that is the way you prefer to journal, go right ahead. And the reason I say this is because sometimes people get intimidated by the prospect of journaling, right? You think you have to buy a special book and then you have to journal every single day. And I don't want you to look at journaling as part of your spiritual abuse recovery from that perspective. A lot of clients that I work with, will just use their phones and they may have a document and then they can just type in some things right in the moment. So going back to what I said about journaling being a powerful tool, one way, like I said, is through documentation. And when you do this, you would list the facts about the situation, right? So let's say there was, a part of your, maybe something that happened recently or something that happened a long time ago that was particularly hurtful or just stands out to you in your spiritual abuse recovery journal. You would go back and you would write the time it happened. If you remember a particular date, that's great. But I would definitely make sure you list the time, the date, what situation or setting that occurred in, as well as people who were there, either witnesses or just the general audience. Okay. So that is an important part of recovery because sometimes when people relay what happened, they can have difficulty remembering some of the things that happened. They can have difficulty remembering the specific setting. So this is just a way of documenting what happened. Okay, so, and the documentation, like I said, is very powerful because it also shows you that you're not making things up. One thing that is very challenging with recovering from spiritual abuse is self-doubt. And part of how we combat that is just by having facts at our fingertips. And so you'll document those. What I do recommend is that if something is occurring in the moment, to try and document as soon as you can. And like I said, because of smartphones, this makes it pretty easy. You can just put in a few words and then you fill it in later. And by the way, if you are enjoying this content, I would really appreciate it if you take a moment to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and then also comment and then share with others. And what this does is it helps get this video out, as well as similar videos to people like you who are benefiting from it. So if you haven't done so, please take a minute to like the video, share, subscribe if you haven't already, and then comment. Okay. So the second benefit of journaling in spiritual abuse recovery is that journaling helps as a way of validating your own feelings, right? When I have several videos on gaslighting, and I'd recommend that you watch those videos. But part of what happens in a spiritually abusive situation is gaslighting. Gaslighting is a huge part of it. And so I won't go into too many details about what gaslighting is, but basically gaslighting is a way of causing someone else to doubt their perceptive abilities, right? When people engage in gaslighting tactics toward others, those individuals who are on the receiving end of gaslighting start to doubt if they actually can perceive reality correctly and accurately. And so when you are experiencing gaslighting, journaling is so important because it helps you see what happened. It helps you note your emotions. It's just another way of taking back your autonomy from the repercussions of gaslighting. And so in spiritually abusive environments, especially, a lot of feelings are dismissed, sensations, thoughts. It's just all dismissed as either not important or not accurate. And so this is a way for you to say, no, actually, I felt this way. This feeling is important, and here's how it relates to the situation. So journaling can be a form of validation. Journaling can also be a great way to just release emotions. Part of the challenges that people who have dealt with psychological abuse, especially spiritual abuse, that's a form of that type of abuse. And there's also emotional abuse and narcissistic abuse. But part of what the repercussions of those are is that people end up suppressing their emotions, right? If you are being repeatedly punished or having really bad experiences when you share how you feel, then you are going to suppress those feelings. For more information on that, I would encourage you to watch my video on emotional numbness and gaslighting. But emotional numbness is something that a lot of people who have gone through spiritual abuse experience. And there are not only mental health repercussions of suppressing your emotions, but there are also physical challenges that can come about from that. It affects your health, weakens your immunity. There's so many things. And I have a video on that as well about how spiritual abuse can affect our body and how it can show up in physical symptoms. So by you journaling, what you're actually doing is you're just releasing your emotions. You have a safe, non-judgmental space to talk about what you felt and release everything, because it's a journal, it's private. So you can say what you want, express that you're feeling all kinds of different feelings and not worry or be concerned about them not being received in a compassionate and understanding way. Okay, another benefit of journaling is that it is a way to problem solve, right? So a lot of times when people have been through spiritual abuse, they beat themselves up because they say, well, I wish I had reacted differently. I wish I did or didn't say this, or I wish I had, whatever action you feel like you should or shouldn't have done. There's a lot of regret. And there's also a lot of, I would say, just beating yourself up, right? And so, like I said, that's part of what you go through in your spiritual abuse recovery journey. But when you journal, it also helps you to problem solve. You are talking about what happened in your own space, in a safe, non-judgmental space, but also at your own pace as well. So you have your own space, but your own pace to process everything that happened. And when you do that, you'll start to find that you can actually solve some of the problems that either occurred as a result of the spiritual abuse, or you can you can preempt some spiritual abuse from happening, right? So maybe you're journaling and you found out that you failed to react the way you wanted to because you went into a meeting with somebody and you didn't have anybody to go to the meeting with you, right? And this is another tactic that sometimes spiritually abusive people will do, is they'll call you into a meeting unannounced, and you're kind of just caught off guard. And so when you are journaling about that experience, you can find out how, not only how it made you feel, but what you could do in the future to prevent that. And so you could say something to yourself like, wow, as I'm reading through this, as I'm writing this, I'm seeing that many of these situations occurred when I was caught off guard. And so now here's what I'm going to do to lessen the chance of me being caught off guard. It could be something as simple as always having someone with you in a meeting, or it could be just a response that you've crafted when someone asks you to have a meeting. You could say, you know what, this time doesn't work for me. I'll get back to you as to when it does, or something along those lines. These are just examples. But the point of all of this is that journaling is very powerful as a tool in your spiritual abuse recovery arsenal. And it's a powerful tool because of what it does. So I'm going to go over the benefits of journaling real quick. Again, it's important because it provides documentation, right? So you have the documents, you have the facts as to what actually happened. And then another thing is that journaling can be a way of validating your own feelings and your own emotions and your own experience. And this is a powerful way of combating gaslighting. And I talk about this in one of my other videos as well. And then the third way is just through the release of emotions, right? Many times when you're in a spiritually abusive or abusive environment, it is not safe or wise sometimes to be honest about how you feel. And so you get to have that honesty and you get to process things in the journal. And then the last benefit is problem solving. So as you're processing, you may have new ideas, you may have solutions to problems that you may never have found if you didn't just take the time to journal. So I encourage you to journal. And also, I would like to hear from you in the comments below. Have you ever experienced benefits from journaling as part of your spiritual abuse recovery journey? And if so, what were they? How would you encourage other people to incorporate journaling into part of their recovery journey? So I'd love to hear from you about that in the comment section. And if you have any questions or you would like to start your spiritual abuse recovery journey, go to my website, skillsetcounseling.com, and click on the orange button for a free consultation. You can also click on the link in the description box. Okay? So I hope you have a wonderful and a peaceful day. Bye-bye.